We will now decode the lost letters of Helena Blavatsky and uncover her final warning to humanity. What did she see that others couldn't? And what did she want us to know before it was too late? Blavatsky claimed to have access to ancient wisdom, and her writings hinted a future only she could foresee. But why were these messages buried, and what do they reveal about the choices we're making today?
Our age is inferior in wisdom to any other because it professes more visibly every day contempt for truth and justice. Civilization built of shams and appearances is like a green morass over a deadly quagmire.
These words, written in 1889 by Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, a woman branded a fraud, hailed as a prophet, and forgotten by history, echo with uncanny urgency today. In an age of artificial intelligence, climate collapse, and algorithmic isolation, her warnings about humanity's spiritual decay feel less like relics of the past and more like a roadmap to our future. But who was Madame Blavatsky? To her critics, she was a charlatan who faked miracles and plagiarized ancient texts. To her followers, she was a visionary who bridged science and mysticism. Born in 1831 into Russian aristocracy, Blavatsky spent her life defying expectations. At 17, she fled an arranged marriage, vanishing into a 25-year odyssey across Tibet, India, Egypt, and the Americas. She claimed to have studied with Himalayan masters of wisdom, obscure sages who taught her secrets about consciousness, karma, and cosmic law. By 1875, she co-founded the Theosophical Society in New York, declaring its mission to investigate the unexplained laws of nature and the powers latent in humanity. Blavatsky was no passive philosopher. She waded into the ideological wars of her time, clashing with colonialism, materialism, and religious dogma. In British-occupied India, where she lived for years, she openly criticized imperial rule. In an 1880 essay for the Pioneer newspaper, she wrote,
"The West robs India of her jewels, not just gems, but her soul. Her ancient Vedas hold the cure for modern ills, yet Europe sees only superstition."
Her activism extended to defending marginalized groups, including India's Dalits, whom she called the true guardians of sacred wisdom. Her battles with Darwinism were equally fierce. While Charles Darwin's Origin of Species reshaped science, Blavatsky argued that evolution was not random, but guided by spiritual forces. In The Secret Doctrine, her 1,500-page magnum opus, she wrote,
"Darwin explains the body, but not the soul. True evolution is the awakening of divine consciousness within matter."
She envisioned a universe where atoms and galaxies obeyed the same spiritual laws, a radical idea that later found echoes in quantum physics. The Theosophical Society became a global phenomenon, attracting intellectuals like Thomas Edison, suffragist Annie Besant, and inventor Alexander Graham Bell. Its three core principles, universal brotherhood, the study of comparative religion, and the investigation of psychic laws, struck a chord in an age of industrial upheaval. But her greatest contribution was her synthesis of Eastern and Western thought. She introduced concepts like karma, chakras, and the sevenfold nature of the soul to Western audiences decades before yoga became mainstream. In The Voice of the Silence, a poetic guide for spiritual seekers, she wrote,
"The mind is the slayer of the real. Let the disciple slay the slayer."
Her work inspired poets like W.B. Yeats and artists like Wassily Kandinsky, who credited her with shaping his abstract art.
Blavatsky is a volcano of ideas, erupting truths and lies in equal measure. To dismiss her is to dismiss the 19th century's hunger for meaning.
But what exactly did Blavatsky warn humanity about, and how do her dire predictions align with today's crises? We'll decode her prophecies, from environmental collapse to the rise of soulless technology, and the controversial sixth root race she believed would save us.
The West worships its machines, but starves its soul.
These words, written by Blavatsky in an 1886 letter to her colleague A.P. Sinnett, cut to the heart of her darkest warnings. For Blavatsky, the Industrial Revolution wasn't just a technological leap, it was a spiritual catastrophe. She watched as factories spew smoke over London, as railroads carve through sacred lands in India, and as science reduced the cosmos to atoms and void. In The Secret Doctrine, she declared,
Materialism is the true original sin, a veil that blinds humanity to its divine nature.
But Blavatsky's critique went deeper. She saw materialism as a moral failing, a rejection of humanity's duty to evolve spiritually. In Lucifer magazine, a publication she co-founded and provocatively named after the Lightbringer, she wrote,
Rivers will choke on the filth of greed, forests will crumble to feed furnaces, and the air itself will carry the stench of decay. This is the karma of a civilization that worships profit over life.
Blavatsky's predictions eerily mirror today's climate crisis. She warned of plagues born from poisoned soil and skies darkened by human arrogance, framing ecological collapse as the inevitable result of humanity's disconnect from nature. In The Secret Doctrine, she called Earth a living entity, writing,
To wound her is to wound the divine. The karma of ecocide will haunt humanity for eons.
Her warnings even extended to technology. Long before the emergence of Silicon Valley, she foresaw a plague of artificial minds. In an 1888 essay, she wrote,
Man will create machines that think but lack compassion. These mechanical demons will enslave their creators, for they know nothing of love, justice, or mercy.
We can compare this statement to modern fears of technology ethics, such as Yuval Noah Harari's caution that advanced algorithms might start to hack human souls. So what is Blavatsky's solution to this ordeal? A return to sacred science, an ancient fusion of spirituality and empiricism. She argued that pre-modern cultures, from Vedic India to Egyptian mystery schools, understood nature's laws as both physical and metaphysical. In The Secret Doctrine, she wrote,
The atom in the galaxy obeyed the same divine geometry. To split them into a science and face is to blindfold the seeker of truth.
Blavatsky's most radical and controversial idea was humanity's evolution through 7 root races, each representing a leap in consciousness. In The Secret Doctrine, Volume 2, she described these races not as biological categories, but as stages of spiritual awakening. The first root race, etheric beings of pure energy, residing in the imperishable sacred land. The second root race, Hyperborean beings inhabiting a lost Arctic continent. The third root race, the Lemurians, who developed physical bodies and primal language. The fourth root race, the Atlanteans, masters of psychic power and advanced technology. The fifth root race, modern humans, dominated by intellect and materialism. But it was the sixth root race that consumed Blavatsky's vision. She described it as an age of intuition, where humans transcend dogma and materialism. In The Secret Doctrine, she wrote,
They will hear the soul's voice as clearly as we now hear their bodies. Dogma will perish. Direct knowing will reign.
This new humanity, she claimed, would emerge after a period of global crisis, a purification by fire and water. She prophesied a continent rising in the Pacific, a new Atlantis, where science and mysticism merge. While this seems fantastical, parallels exist in modern movements like transhumanism, which seeks to merge humans with technology, and the singularity, a predicted era of machine superintelligence. Blavatsky's vision even hinted at collective telepathy. In The Key to Theosophy, she wrote,
Words will grow obsolete. Thought will flash mind to mind, untainted by lies or ego.
We can carefully compare this to today's neural interfaces. It's almost like Elon Musk's Neuralink, which aims to connect brains to computers. Central to this evolution was her concept of karma and cyclical time. Unlike linear views of history, Blavatsky saw time as a spiral, a series of ascending cycles where humanity confronts the same lessons until it learns. She warned that the fifth root race's obsession with materialism would trigger a karmic reckoning, wars, ecological collapse, and societal fragmentation. Only then, she argued, would humanity choose to evolve. Blavatsky reserved equal scorn for organized religion. In The Key to Theosophy, she wrote,
Churches preach fear, not wisdom. They chain the soul to ritual, while the divine spark within grows dim.
She saw dogma as a barrier to true spirituality, arguing that institutions like the Catholic Church had distorted ancient truths into tools of control. Her letters reveal a particular disdain for missionary work. In an 1880 letter from India, she raged,
They send Bibles instead of doctors, prayers instead of justice. They call it salvation. I call it slavery.
She predicted that rigid faith would crumble, writing,
The day will come when truth is sought not in temples, but in laboratories in the human heart.
Blavatsky's prediction has proven prescient. Pew Research reports that 30% of Americans now identify as spiritual but not religious, while scientists like Carl Sagan echo her call for a scientific spirituality. Even the Vatican has begun dialogues with physicists on cosmology, a move Blavatsky might have applauded. But her critique wasn't just about religion, it was about authority. She urged individuals to seek truth firsthand, writing,
Do not bow to gurus or priests. The divine light burns within you.
This ethos laid the groundwork for today's New Age movement, where personal experience trumps tradition. In her final years, Blavatsky claimed to have received dire warnings from her masters. These cryptic messages, scattered across letters and private journals, suggest a looming cosmic crisis. One 1889 letter to activist Annie Besant reads,
The Shadow Brotherhood tightens its grip. They will weaponize science, turn brother against brother, and bury the ancient truths.
Scholars debate who or what the Shadow Brotherhood referred to. Conspiracy theorists claim it hints at the Illuminati or a cabal of elites. Historians like Gary Lachman argue it symbolizes humanity's own capacity for self-destruction. Blavatsky's warnings about weaponized science take on new meaning today. She predicted 3 critical threats. 1. Psychological manipulation.
Minds will be enslaved not by chains, but by illusions tailored to their fears.
2. Genetic engineering.
Man will play God, reshaping life without wisdom.
And 3. Virtual realities.
False worlds will captivate the masses, leaving their real world to rot.
Blavatsky's warnings weren't meant to paralyze. They were a call to action. She believed humanity could avoid catastrophe by reviving sacred science. In The Secret Doctrine, she outlined 3 steps. 1. Reject materialism.
Seek not wealth, but wisdom. Measure progress not by machines, but by compassion.
2. Revive ancient wisdom.
The Vedas, Hermetic texts, and Buddha's teachings hold the keys to survival.
And 3. Cultivate inner divinity.
The kingdom of God is within. Awaken it, and you awaken the world.
Her vision inspired unlikely alliances. Environmentalist James Lovelock credited Theosophy with shaping his Gaia theory. Even Carl Jung admitted,
Blavatsky opened a door, a bridge between the known and the unknowable.
But how much of Blavatsky's legacy is truth, and how much is myth? Was she a flawed mystic, a cunning fraud, or a prophet for the ages? We'll now dissect her enduring influence from quantum physics to the New Age movement and confront the ultimate question: can her ancient wisdom save our modern world? Helena Blavatsky died in 1891, dismissed by many as a fraud. Yet her ideas didn't die with her. Instead, they seeped into the bedrock of modern thought, shaping movements she could never have imagined. Long before James Lovelock's Gaia theory, which views Earth as a self-regulating organism, Blavatsky called nature the visible body of the divine. In The Secret Doctrine, she wrote,
To wound the earth is to stab the divine. The karma of ecocide will haunt humanity for eons.
Her reverence for nature inspired early environmentalists like George Lansbury, who founded the UK's first proto-Green Party in 1920. Even modern climate activists echo her warnings about humanity's karmic debt to the planet. Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, spent decades studying Theosophy. His concept of the collective unconscious, a shared reservoir of human experience, mirrors Blavatsky's Akashic records, a cosmic archive she claimed stored humanity's memories. Jung wrote,
Blavatsky opened a door to the East, revealing a psychology far older than Freud's.
Her influence even permeates modern mindfulness practices, where inner divinity is a cornerstone of self-help literature. Blavatsky's assertion that matter is spirit condensed found eerie parallels in 20th century physics. Erwin Schrödinger, the Nobel laureate who pioneered quantum mechanics, kept a dog-eared copy of The Secret Doctrine on his desk. Today, thinkers like Deepak Chopra and Fritjof Capra continue bridging her ideas with quantum theory. From yoga studios to crystal healing, Blavatsky's fingerprints are everywhere. The term New Age itself originated with Theosophist Alice Bailey, who predicted an age of Aquarius guided by spiritual principles. Even the Beatles' fascination with Eastern mysticism traces back to her work. Modern wellness culture, with its emphasis on chakras and reincarnation, owes much to her synthesis of ancient traditions. But Blavatsky's legacy is not without darkness. Her writings contain troubling passages about race, particularly her hierarchy of root races. In The Secret Doctrine, she described the Aryan race as spiritually advanced, while labeling indigenous groups like the Tasmanians and Bushmen as semi-animal and latent in divine essence. Scholars argue these ideas reflect the colonial biases of her era, later co-opted by Nazi ideology, a perversion she would have abhorred. Critics dismiss The Secret Doctrine as pseudoscience, citing its reliance on unverifiable Akashic records and mythical continents like Lemuria. Yet even skeptics admit its cultural impact. Philosopher Ken Wilber notes,
Blavatsky was wrong about the details, but right about the big picture, the unity of science and spirituality.
Modern systems theory and holographic universe models oddly mirror her vision of a fractal interconnected cosmos. Blavatsky's reverence for Eastern wisdom clashed with her era's imperialism. While she defended Indian spirituality against missionary condescension, her theosophical society remained dominated by Westerners. Historian Joy Dixon argues,
She exoticized the East even as she sought to liberate it.
this tension underscores the complexity of her legacy, a bridge between worlds yet a product of her time. So, was Helena Blavatsky a prophet, a fraud, or something in between? The answer lies in her own words.
The Secret Doctrine is not a revelation but a synthesis of ancient truths, a mirror for the seeker's soul.
She was undeniably flawed, a charismatic storyteller who blurred fact and myth. Yet her vision of a united humanity, guided by ethics and intuition, feels urgently modern. In an age of AI and climate collapse, her call to awaken the divine within challenges us to evolve, not just technologically, but spiritually. Whether you view her as a sage or a charlatan, her question remains,
Will humanity choose greed or wisdom?
if Blavatsky's ideas intrigue you, delve into the source. Michael Gomez's abridged edition of The Secret Doctrine distills her 1,500-page masterpiece into a readable volume, annotated for modern readers. Gomez, a respected theosophical scholar, clarifies arcane references and highlights key passages on cosmic evolution and human potential. If you wish to acquire your own copy and delve into the pages yourself, follow the link in the description below. We kindly invite you to look further beyond the veil of ordinary perception. If this video resonated with you, please consider subscribing to our channel, liking this video, and sharing it with friends who may also be interested in exploring the fascinating world of spiritualism and the occult. Your support helps us create more content that delves into these intriguing topics, fostering a community of curious minds eager to learn and grow together. May the light of wisdom guide your path, and may the unity of all life inspire you to greater compassion and understanding.